President Trump just dropped the hammer that snapped Tehran's spine. The strike package that he froze would have been worse than any attack since World War II. Then the mullahs regime called and begged, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. And now the whole region is lining up on America's terms. Now the story turns on one stake only, whether the United States gets ruled by strength or sabotage from inside by leakers and weaklings who tip off an enemy state. Trump built enough fear to make Iran blink, while CENTCOM enforced the choke point with 44 commercial vessels redirected to, disabled, and boarded. Then, some sleazebag inside the machine leaked strike details to the same regime that Trump cornered. And that's not gossip. That's sabotage against an American war posture. At the exact moment, Trump had Tehran on its knees. And when Trump has the Strait of Hormuz locked down and the whole region scrambling, I think about energy at the most basic level inside the body. I dug into that with Jonathan Otto, and the big point stuck. Mitochondria as cellular batteries. And that's why this is a well-researched tool. Not a gimmick. Red light therapy is a well-researched tool because red and near-infrared light therapy support cellular batteries, help create more cellular energy, reduce stress at the cellular level, and support natural repair process. I use red light because it's built to actually work with 9 clinically studied wavelengths, dual chip technology, and twice the power in a standard device. Comparison for stronger daily performance. Go to myredlight.com/NNN. Use NNN Rep 25 for individual items or NNN Rep 30 for bundles. Stock is limited. Strength works from your cells to the straight. And here's the detail the regime media can't spin away. Trump said Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar all called as the strike window closed. When allies rush the line because they know American force is real, you're watching Trump run the board. So President Trump, he just now, we're going to hit Iran so hard, it would have been worse than any attack. Listen.
Off and our airstrikes
back
they're
on. They're going on right now. It's an amazing thing. We have a little problem with Iran because we have many talks and we'll say we have or we don't have. You know, we're straight about it. But they deny, but they're not denying it now. They just put out a statement not denying it. But for some reason, they, when they're talking, they don't like saying that they're talking. So I say, wait, we're in talks. Big deal, we're in talks. And they'll sometimes deny it, even though they spend hours and hours together talking. No, the talks are going along. We're going to hit them very hard yesterday, very, very hard, harder than any attack. I think I can say, General, from a point of knowledge, any attack since World War II. That's pretty big. Wow. And we were set to go, and they called. And in addition, Saudi Arabia called, and UAE called, Qatar called. Got calls from numerous people. I don't want to use the word begging, but some were, in particular, Iran did not want to be hit. And they said, we want to talk. We want to talk about the Strait, but more importantly, from my standpoint, we want to talk about the denuclearization.
So Trump says Iran blinked when the threat got real. Now Mike Pence, of all people, weighs in with a harder line, urging Trump to finish the job and hit the regime's remaining military targets. And I don't believe there's a fly on his head here.
Respond quickly. I want to ask you about Iran. Yeah. We had a Fox poll that came out about 2 weeks ago. We asked the question on the ultimate outcome with Iran, the U.S. will reach what? Good deal, bad deal, or no deal? And 48% said no deal. What's your view?
Well, I have more confidence in President Trump than that. And I think the Iranians should be very wary in this moment. Look, I strongly supported the president's decision to use military force last year and this year, striking Iran really for the first time in 47 years after they've waged a continuous war against the United States and the West all those years. But honestly, I think the president, after that first month where our military did a brilliant job taking down 13,000 military sites, I think the president has tried to create room for diplomacy. He's done that again over this weekend, even as we were marshaling military assets across the region. But I honestly think that the time has come for the President of the United States to unleash the armed forces of the United States, strike the remaining nuclear facilities in Iran, take down and degrade their ability to project force, not only in the Strait, but across the region. Look, one does not make peace with one's enemy. One makes peace with one's defeated enemy. And given their posture and their attitudes and even denying that negotiations are happening,
Wow. Mike Pence is calling for force, not more delay. Next, Trump explains why that strike was paused, saying Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, even Iran pushed for a last-second hold. This is Air Force One.
Asked by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, by Qatar, and by Iran. We were all set to go just about at this time right now, and it would have been a massive attack. We were all set to go, but when the allies asked to call it off, you got to sort of say, well, let's see. And the reason they asked is I think there's a deal. There's a deal on Hormuz, and then there will be a deal on the nuclear, or you might call it the denuclearization of Iran. I call it the denuclearization of Iran. So we're holding it. We'll just see. We can do it anytime we want. But we're asked by the three primary groups. We're also asked by Iran, very strongly, actually. They said, we'd like to make a deal. Now, I don't know what they say, because a lot of times they'll say that to me, and then they'll go out and say, we don't know what he's talking about. Obviously, they don't want to be attacked. And they knew the extent of the attack because they saw it forming.
So Trump says the attack was loaded and ready, but allies in Tehran wanted a deal. Next, he says Washington has a leak problem, too, with strike details spilling out to sleazebag leakers who tipped off the enemy from the Oval Office here.
President, this is at least the fifth time you turned off airstrikes against Iran since April to negotiate. What is your message to the American people who are wondering what has changed this time? Why should it be any different?
Well, you don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But it's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. Hopefully they'll come to their senses, because what happened cannot have a nuclear weapon, but hopefully they'll come to their senses. So they called me. And they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth. And everyone knows it. And who wouldn't call? And they found out through leaks and sleazebags, a lot of sleazebags, leakers. Leakers should be put in jail. They have to strengthen up the laws for leakers. But in this case, leakers helped, because they said the severity of the attack. And Iran knew it. They knew what was coming. It was going to come last night. And it would have gone on for a long time, and there'd be essentially very little left. There'd be nothing left. And if I'm given a chance to let a lot of people live, I want to give that chance. So I'm under no time constraint. I don't happen to be running, but a lot of very good Republicans are running. And you have a sick ideology taking place right now.
So that's the swamp in action, leaks reaching the enemy while Trump is trying to force a surrender. Next, he makes clear the talks are still happening and says this is Iran's last chance to sign.
Talks with Iran now off, and our airstrikes back
they're
on.
on. They're going on right now. It's an amazing thing. We have a little problem with Iran because we have many talks, and we'll say we have or we don't have. We're straight about it. But they deny. But they're not denying it now. They just put out a statement not denying it. But for some reason, when they're talking, they don't like saying that they're talking. So I say, wait, we're in talks. Big deal. We're in talks. And they'll sometimes deny it, even though they spend hours and hours together talking. No, the talks are going along. We were going to hit them very hard yesterday, very, very hard, harder than any attack. I think I can say, General, from a point of knowledge, any attack since World War II. That's pretty big. And we were set to go, and they called. And in addition, Saudi Arabia called, and UAE called, Qatar called. Got calls from numerous people. I don't want to use the word begging, but some were. In particular, Iran did not want to be hit. And they said, we want to talk. We want to talk about the Strait, but more importantly, from my standpoint, we want to talk about the denuclearization of Iran, because it's what it's all about. This is why I'm doing this. And it should have been done. It's now 50 years. We keep saying 47 years, but 3 years have gone by. But it's for 50 years that other presidents should have been doing or other countries. Didn't have to be us, but other countries. And nobody did it. And it was time, and we hit them hard with the B-2s more than a year ago now. And that knocked out their capability, their potential capability. We've done a great job. But when we talk, we say we're talking. If we're not talking, when you ask me, no, we're not talking, I'll say it. But we are talking right now. We're talking. And we're talking at the request of Iran, backed by Saudi Arabia, backed by UAE, and backed by Qatar in particular, but others also. Many countries called. The leaders of many are friendly with a lot of them, almost all of them, one way or the other, and they all wanted to give this a last chance. This is a last chance. This is not something that, if it doesn't happen, this is a last chance for them to sign a good document.
So the clock's ticking. Next, he lays out the two-step demand: reopen the Strait, and then move to full denuclearization.
So where are the Iran talks, and what are your
Well,
requirements
you'll find
right
out
now?
today or tomorrow. I mean, they're going to go quickly, one way or the other. It's not very complex. We're talking about the Strait, the opening of the Strait, having it open literally by tomorrow, completely open. And that's phase one. And phase two is we then will talk about the nuclear capacity, the nuclear, as we've been mentioned. Basically, it's, I think, the denuclearization of Iran has to happen, and that'll be the second phase. But the first phase is the opening of the Straits. The second phase will be the denuclearization, and that'll take a little while. But we're very strong on it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and I have never changed in that. Yeah, please.
So phase one is Strait. Phase two, stripping Iran's nuclear capability for good. Next, he says why he's still leaving the door open for one last chance before decapitation.
I think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But it's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. Hopefully they'll come to their senses, because what happened cannot have a nuclear weapon, but hopefully they'll come to their senses. So they called me, and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it. And who wouldn't call? And they found out through leaks and sleazebags, a lot of sleazebags leaked.
So Trump says Iran blinked when the threat got real. Are we serious? Did this thing reset? Oh, boy. One last chance. Okay, here's CENTCOM. U.S. forces continue to strictly enforce the U.S. blockade against Iran as of August 3rd. CENTCOM has redirected 44 commercial vessels, disabled 2, and boarded 2.
Captain, you are requested to alter course to 190. If you do not comply, we will compel compliance with force. This is Warship 45. We will monitor your course for compliance at this time. Warship 45 standing by on 16 out.
Wow. So Donald J. Trump did not chase Iran to the table with another Obama-Biden seminar. He cornered the Mullah regime with a strike so catastrophic, he said it would have been worse than any attack since World War II. The filthiest part came after that. Leakers inside our own system fed Tehran a heads up and Trump still made them fold. So he just proved in public that peace through strength is not a slogan. It's a weapon. He had the Navy controlling the strait under what he called the wall of steel. He had the region watching. He had Iran dialing in with please don't attack, we'll make a deal. And still, inside the American system, some sleazebag leaker tried to gut our advantage and hand an enemy regime precious time. Prison for the leakers and total pressure on Tehran. No more media fairy tales about diplomacy floating in from nowhere. Trump created the diplomacy by putting annihilation on the table first. So drop a comment if you back jail time for anyone who leaks military plans, and share this segment with one person still pretending the mullahs negotiated from strength. So that please don't attack phone call from Tehran is exactly why Inside Feed matters tonight. Text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network is credentialed inside the White House, and we push reports pulled straight from the building to your phone nightly before YouTube buries the best parts, before the herd catches up. And if reading the intel is not enough and you want a job in the fight, text SIGNAL to that same number and enlist in the Next News Signal Corps, where real missions, real ranks, and a command center turn viewers into operators.